Hello, snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's time for this podcast Tuesday. So, in case you haven't, in case you didn't know, Pro Tours just happened, and well, it was modern. For the first time in quite a while, the Pro Tour was actually balanced, and I was not expecting that. I mean, we had a variety of decks, like 7 different decks in the Pro Tour. I mean, to be fair, the winning deck had there were like 2 of them, which is mono blue belcher, and I gotta tell you this, it's a really cool deck. I mean, well, mono blue belcher, um, both decks, so one deck won and the other deck made it to semifinals, which lost to the same deck actually. So it could have made it. It could have been an all Charbelcher final. So, but this deck, the format is still balanced. It's not like unbeatable. It's not like it's a strong deck, but yeah. So. Well, all right. So, you just. So yeah, so we're just gonna go over this deck. I mean, I was thinking if to do the PlayStation Secret Lair drop podcast, or if to do the, or if to do the, or to do this one. But I was like, screw this. I'll just do this one. So I mean, so yeah. We're just gonna talk about no combo or non-combo for this week, because the deck itself is a combo deck. So let's go into the main deck. I mean, there's like a bunch of cards, but I mean, we're gonna just break it down quickly. No need to talk about every single card, cause most of these cards are freaking double-sided lands. I mean, so so yeah. Let's just go over. So this is we're gonna talk about the card advantage. So there's like 4 of each. Phalange Archaeologist and Thunder Trap Trainer both being the early game card advantage cards, which basically let you get your cards. So basically, you have 2. Phalange Archaeologist is 2 mana 0/3, which lets you mill free and then get a non-creature non-land from there. And if you don't get anything, then it's a 1/4. But the good thing about this is that basically it's since there are no lands. I mean, you can basically take almost any land, like due to the fact that the land is not a land. For example, Seagate Restoration alone, this is a land. I mean, you play this as a blue land, you can pay 3 life so it enters untapped, otherwise it enters tapped. And it's a late game card advantage card. So yeah, and Phalange Archaeologist also fills you up the graveyard, which helps to bring in a Lotus with Tameshi, for example, which will be talked about next. But Thunder Trap Trainer is another similar one. Allows you to look more than Pelagio Courage, and plus it's a 1-2 rather than being a 0 free. So it does allow for some early game pressure, or just in case if you can't kill with the Charbage. I mean, it can kill Planeswalkers. That is something you can do with Thunder Trap Trainers, and failed Pelagio Archaeologists as well. So some versions of this deck play Harbinger. This version doesn't. I don't know why, but this deck does not have Harbinger. It's insane, man. I mean, if we just if we just check the deck list, there's no Harbinger. Like, what the hell is this? Why? I mean, to be fair, this is a version which splashes white and isn't entirely mono blue. But most versions, initially before Tameshi, people were playing just mono blue. Tameshi actually, then other people started using Tameshi for ramping, and that one actually succeeded more. Seagate Restoration is not really viable, but you can do it. I mean, it's 7 mana, draws your hand +1, and no max in hand size for the rest of the game. You could get this via ramping with Tameshi if you don't get your Charbelcher, to try and get the Charbelcher. Because with Tameshi you can keep on you can bounce the land and just basically get 2 mana. Because you spend 1 mana to get 3 mana and you just ramp. But that's basically the card advantage. We're just gonna go and talk about the combo plus ramp to get the combo. You have 4 of each. So Lotus Bloom, you can suspend it in the early game. So you can spend it in turn 1 to get down on turn 4. And by turn 4, you can have the 4 lands plus 1 Lotus Bloom, and you can cast Goblin Charbelcher and straight up one-shot the opponent. But you can do it earlier, or if you don't get Lotus Bloom, you use Tameshi to bring back Lotus Bloom. So it's Tameshi is a backup and secret ramp engine. So the first permanent you bounce draws you 1 card each turn. And at sorcery speed, you can pay X and a white to bring back an artifact of MVX. So, by bouncing a land, of course. So, Tameshi, you can bring back Charbelcher for 5 mana, but you don't really want to do that, because then it's going to be 8 mana to one-shot the opponent. But with Lotus Bloom, all you gotta do is just spend a white, bounce the land, and then bring back Lotus Bloom. You can even use the white from the Lotus Bloom if you don't have, you can literally and Tameshi draws you cards as well. So the first time you do a bounce to bring back Lotus Bloom, you draw a card. So you can do this to dig for Goblin Charbelcher. So yeah, it's honestly a crazy deck. And then if the opponent, counters Goblin Charbelcher, you can, but it's not really recommended to do so. You could bring back Goblin Charbelcher with Tameshi by spending 1 extra mana. But since the lands are limited, you're still gonna have to bounce, the lands, and you're gonna bounce quite a bunch of lands to play Lotus Bloom. And another thing you could do, with Tameshi. Tameshi triggers every time a non-creature permanent gets bounced. But it's only once per turn. So and it doesn't matter who bounces it. how it gets bounced. I mean, to who it gets bounced to. Just because we got a collection of spell manipulation cards. So all these cards can counter, disrupt, redirect, or bounce a spell. So, I mean, it's just a long list. So yeah, of course, by this, so basically, this card at the front, we're gonna talk about it. There's like some of these are like double-sided. So Sinking Super can be played as a land, where you can bolt yourself, otherwise enters tapped. So for free mana, you can bounce a spell or non-land permanent to zone attack. So you could bounce. For example, you could use it to bounce the you can bounce spell. You can even bounce artifacts, enchantment, anything. So with Tameshi, you could bounce a non-creature permanent with Sinking Super and draw a card on their turn. But you don't really do that much. I mean, next we got one copy of Stretch Serenade, which I find it interesting. Most people play Swan Song, but this is an interesting one because it lets you counter an artifact, creature, or planeswalker. And it gives the controller a bird, 2/2 bird flying. So why Stretch Serenade instead of Swan Song? I mean, it is one of the few cards that let you counter a creature for 1 mana in this format, but it does give them a creature back. So not much you're helping with this. But it can counter artifacts and planeswalkers. Can be used to counter Teferis, Narsets. Can even be used to counter another freaking Charbelcher if needed, or an amulet. Hell, Amulet of Vigor is just quite like there was an Amulet Titan deck that made it to top 8. Just saying. However, sadly, that deck did not make it far. I mean, if we go to the top 8 breakdown, we had this is the Tameshi Belcher that won. At second place, we had the Azorius Control, which is by Francisco. Was rooting for me. Patchy. May have heard of him. I've seen him in some MTGO events. And, of course, the one who lost to Michael was Miko. Miko? I don't know. Playing a different version of the deck. Playing different counters. Once into the Floodmaw main board, and of course using Heartbringers in the sideboard, and Hurricane's Recall. Surprising. Who lost to Pachi in the semi-finals was Sperblink by Makoto Horiuchi. And well, yeah, that was the Amulet Titan deck that I don't know who lost. Who Mason Bonadonna was there. Esper Gorios, not Esper Blink, a different one. Yeah, by Johnny Gutman. Smic Neoform by Noe Offman. And you got Is It Prowess by Justin Chable. But of course, Neoform is actually becoming meta. Not even joke. I remember building this deck as a joke, and it actually ends up making to meta. It's not even a bad deck. So, yeah. That's basically... Disrupting Shoal is one of the few... it was actually the first, modern legal pitch counterspell. Because Commander's not really countering. It lets you steal a non-creature spell and let you redirect it. But you have to exile 2 blue cards, not 1 blue card. Disrupting Shoal, the issue is you have to exile a blue card with the same cost. There's 4 of them. So you could exile Disruption Show with Disruption Show, but that's gonna be 2 mana. I mean, and if not, the hard cast would be the spell plus 2. The issue is it has to be the exact cost. That's the big issue with Disrupting Show. It cannot be less. You cannot like freaking exile Seagate Restoration to counter like almost any spell the opponent would have. That doesn't work. However, there is a big deal of 2 free 4 mana. No, 4 mana. No, there's not much 4 mana blue spells in the deck, but there's lots of 2 mana and 3 mana spells, which you can use with Disrupting Shoal to counter 2 mana and 3 mana spells, which are Small Teferis and who else? Oh yeah, Narset, Force of Negation as well as Thinking to Stupor. There are a bunch of spells you can counter. Yeah, but you just can't disrupt. I mean, it disrupts also. Dry Leasing Grove. That's also one. So I mean. Spelunking, Goblin Bombardment, that's 2 mana, and Blood Moons. Oh, yeah, Blood Moons can actually damage this deck, because if Blood Moon is out, the only thing they can use is just Lotus Blooms and Charbelchers. I mean, they would need to literally just ramp back up. I mean, they need Lotus Bloom to cover fits and ramping. But they can still win with Blood Moon. It's just the mono red version, which loses to Harbinger. So what else? Oh, I forgot Flare of Denial. Flare of Denial. There's like 3 of them. So you counter a spell for 3 mana, but you can sacrifice a blue creature, non-token blue creature to counter 1 for free. So you're usually going to sacrifice a Philology Archaeologist or a Thunder Trainer. You could even sacrifice Hydroelectric Specimen, which redirects a spell to that specimen. So yeah, issue is only instant and sorcery, not auras, not abilities. I mean, some stuff let you redirect abilities, but no. This is only instants or sorceries. But yeah, Disruption Show. No, this not Disruption Show. Flare Denial. That's what I meant to. But all right, Droid Disruption. Not a very practical counter spell, but it's basically a 2 mana Force Spike, which can be played as a tapped blue land. And what else? Force of Negation. You got 4 Droid Disruption, I was saying, and 3 Flares of Denial. 2 Forces of Negation, where you can exile a blue card to counter a non-creature spell. Oh, outside your turn only. And it exiles a spell as well. But during your turn, or just, if you want to hard cast it, it's 3 mana. Can also be pitched to Disrupting Shoal to counter a 3 mana spell. Anytime. And what else? I mentioned Hydroelectric Specimen. I mean, other than that, it's just a 1/4? Not a bad blocker. And it has, of course, since this creature literally redirects spells, it has Flash. And Stern Scolding. I mean, there's like 4 Hydroelectric Specimens, which can be played as a bolt land as well, if you need. Mostly used as a bolt land. And Stern Scolding, 2 copies of those. Lets you counter this creature with power or toughness 2 or less. So yeah, really good. Really good list of counter spells. Now we're gonna go over to this Lotus Searcher. So this is mainly used to search for Lotus. Can be used to search for Charbelcher in not very ideal scenarios. So, Word of Invention is Edson triple blue, instant with Improvise. Search your library for an artifact of MV at Stardust. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So, for 3 mana, you get to search for Lotus Bloom. And the best part of this is that Lotus Bloom adds 3 mana. So, if the opponent was to destroy your Lotus Bloom on your upkeep to stop you from comboing, for example, because Lowe's Bloom, last counter gets removed and you cast it. If your opponent's gonna hit you with a Bossage or something, screw this. 4 free mana, Wear of Invention, search for another Lotus. And boom, you're still gonna have 1 Lotus that can be used for free mana. Draw a card, play the land, and then boom, you won show with Belcher. So, in the late game scenario, if you're gonna have to play Seagate Restoration, I mean, you could for 7 mana search for a Belcher, but the issue is that most likely your opponent will have a window to destroy the Belcher, which is not ideal playing this deck. You're gonna want to use Belcher right after playing it, so the opponent does not get priority when it's on the battlefield. Meaning the only thing that can stop a Belcher is by either countering the spell itself or using a Trick Bind or Tishana's Tidebinder to counter an ability. Because Consigned Memory cannot counter activations. Oh wait, did I forget? Speaking of counter spells, Stern Scolding, and Force of Negation are also used in the sideboard. And was there another counter spell that was being used in the sideboard? No, just Force of Negation and Flusterstorm. No, not Flusterstorm. Stern Scolding. I mean, Flusterstorm isn't used in the sideboard, it's not used in the main. Yeah. Alright. So. What else? It's honestly like very good. Several times I've lost to, trying to destroy the Lotus with Boseiju and then Wear of Invention, make a new Lotus. But if you don't have turn 1 Lotus, you can end of the opponent's turn, since it's an instant, spend free on turn 3, cast the Wear of Invention, search for a Lotus. So then on your turn, you can use the Lotus and then just win. It's honestly that simple, really. Well, of course, most of this deck uses, mono-colored tap lands, but there are also dual colors. So there's 4 Suppression Rays and 4 Warlock Teachings. I mean, you actually, if y'all have seen the match, the opponent actually uses Suppression Ray to tap down a blocker to kill, Narset. Because Suppression Ray is very inconvenient to cast as a spell. It's a 5 mana sorcery that taps all creatures target player controls, and then you may pay Ed's energy to stun Ed's creatures tap this way. But usually you're going to use this as the white-blue land. So you can get the white to use Tameshi. And also, but other than that, it's just, enter stab though, that's the issue. But Warlock Teachings is one that can get you the Wear of, you don't really usually cast this. There's no black card in this. But it is quite practical. So Warlock Teachings is a 4 mana instance that gets you an instant or a flash card. And you put in your hand shuffle. So, Warlock Teachings could either fetch you the Wear of Invention to fetch you a Lotus Bloom or something, if you're going for the late game, or you can Warlock Teachings, fetch for a counter spell and then use it. Like, fetch for Force, Flare, Shoal, something that doesn't use mana. This list doesn't run it, but Subtlety could also be used. Hydro, no. But yeah. Usually you're going to use this to bring in the 0 mana counters. So, yeah. But it's mostly used to play it as a land. Same with Suppression Ray. So, you might be wondering, hey, where are the lands? That's the whole point of this deck. There are no lands. All the land. So belcher allows you to flip cards from the top until you flip a land, and it deals that damage to any target. But if you flip the mountain, it doubles the damage. The neat part of this deck is that since it doesn't have a land, it will flip the whole deck and then deal all that damage to your opponent. And then of course you can rearrange its deck however you choose. So in case you don't kill the opponent. But likely you're gonna kill that player with the belcher. But of course, this does not account for double-faced cards. If the main face is not a land, then the backside is not. It's not land. It's. The backside of the land. The card itself is not a land. It's Stinking to Super is still an instant. It's not an instant land because both sides. It's not a split spell. It's a modal double face card. And of course, double-sided lands will still count as lands. If you're talking about, for example, the pathways, those are double-sided lands. But if we're just talking about, this. So, for example, but the difference was that there's this one period where if you cast a spell that has two sides, you can cast any of the two sides so cards that would let you cast a spell for free would let you cast either side. The issue is, they actually nerfed the cascade rule so that you couldn't cast a more expensive side of a card. So for example, Valky. The front side was 2 mana, but the back side is 7 mana. In the past, you were actually capable of cascading into Valky and then cast Tybalt. They nerfed it, so you can't do that. But for example, Elrond, which is a 5 mana card, you would cascade. You can cast Haka if you were to cascade into Elrond, over 6 mana, 7 mana cascade spell. But if the cascade spell is 3 mana, you don't stop at Elrond, so that you can cast Haka. That is not how the card works. So yeah. But well, it's time for the sideboard. Let's see. So, yeah. Let's just go in to the first card of the sideboard. Islands! Okay, yeah. There's one island in the sideboard. Some versions of the deck use a basic mountain instead of a basic island. So, it honestly really depends, seriously. You want islands would not be affected by Blood Moon. So you can still use 1 blue mana to cast 1 blue spells. Spell that require 1 blue mana. For example, Trainer, Archaeologist, Tameshi, but you won't really be able to use it much. Same with Strict Serenade, Stern Scolding, and some other cards in the sideboard. So, yeah. But the main reason why they use an island in this is that you can search it with Boseiju. So if the opponent Boseijus you, not only is this gonna bypass Blood Moon, if the opponent hits you with Boseiju, you have 1 land to search for. So you get that island, so you don't get deramped by Boseiju or Ghost Quarter, Field of Ruin, demolition field, etc. And you can also get rid of the only island. If your opponent hits you with that Boseiju, you're getting rid of that island with Boseiju. But if you don't, I mean, you just but if, I mean, you're gonna land it. I mean, all you need is just what, 20 cards to kill the opponent, maybe less if the opponent is fetched or shocked, and then there's like the chance you draw it, and it's quite possible you're gonna draw it. I mean, mono red belcher version not only uses like the mountain. I mean, it does make sense. It's a freaking mountain. I mean, but I mean, belcher, if you hit the mountain, it's gonna double the damage. So it is possible, you know. So yeah, let's just go in to more counter spells. So you got 4 consigned memories and 2 fluster storms. So consigned memory allows you to for 1 blue plus plus what was it called? Oh, yeah, replication for 1 colorless allows you to counter trigger or a color spell. This is best used to counter an Eldrazi plus the cast trigger. But you can use this to counter artifacts. I mean, most artifacts are colors. And you can counter triggers. You can counter the storm trigger. You can counter an ETB trigger that could kill you or something. I mean, any trigger basically. You can even, and it also works both ways. You can literally counter your own evoke trigger depending on the deck you're using. I mean, like, if you're using subtleties, you can counter the evoke trigger to keep your subtlety, or it bypass, or you can use it to stop subtlety from triggering, so it doesn't, you know, do the thing on the spell. So it's honestly a really cool card. I mean, might get outclassed by Spider Sense, but people are still playing, you know, consigned memory in this format at least. I mean, maybe this deck may not benefit much from Spider Sense because web slinging requires you to bounce a tap creature, but other decks could use Spider Sense instead of consigned memory inside of maybe. But Fluster Storm allows you to counter the storm, counter consigned memory, and it because consigned memory allows you can replicate it to, you know, secure the spell, so the opponent has to counter multiple iterations of the same spell to get, you know, to stop it, or you just, you know, counter, or you can just, or it's just a really powerful spell pierce. So yeah, that's basically what you can do with Flusterstorm. It's, both of them are phenomenal counter spells, and of course they're used in the sideboard. Now you got a few removals. 2 into the Flood Maws. So for 1 blue, you can bounce an opponent's creature, but you can give them a tap fish to bounce a non-land spell. No, non-land permanent instead. So it has to bounce one of the opponent's stuff. You can't bounce your own stuff. Not that you would bounce your own stuff, but this basically lets you, but it's basically removal, and it can bounce to anything. I mean, just give him a fish if you don't want to bounce a creature, but if you bounce a creature, you don't give him anything. But it's 1 mana. You can literally just it's just bonkers, man. I mean, just 1 mana can disrupt their whole win con. It's just a really powerful unsummon. Not strictly better, because unsummon lets you bounce your own stuff, but in this deck, yeah, Into the Flood Maw is just madness, man. I mean, yeah, let's just go in to 1 card advantage card. You got 1 copy of Stock Up. Why? 3 mana sorcery? Get 2 cards from 5? Who doesn't want that? It's amazing. And it bypasses Narset. So it lets you get, the win cons and everything you need. So it just stocks up. It's post sideboard. Most of the time you're gonna aim for the late game. If you're playing against a mirror match, or if you're playing against Esper, Control, Blink. I mean, if it's a Blink deck, Orzhov or Esper Blink, you're gonna go for late game. And same with Esper Gorios or Azorius Control, Jeskai Control even sometimes. And I mean, sometimes Boros Energy, if they're gonna board in Blood Moon, because you're gonna anticipate a long game. But you pretty much screwed against Blood Moon. Same with Magus the Moon. But yeah, I mean, but it doesn't stop you from winning, of course, because you can still win with Belcher. But the opponent gets prepared for Belcher, so you're gonna need to defend the Belcher. Primeval Titan, it just goes as fast. It doesn't. There's not much you do against Titan, which is different. And last but not least, the Planeswalkers. So you get 2 Tamios, which can be used, which will get it. It's a blue creature, so it can be sacrificed to a flare, but it can also, flips into a Planeswalker. So you can draw you cards, benefits from you drawing cards, and then boom, you get to start bringing back your stuff. You start weakening the opponent's creatures to buy you some time, and eventually you can draw it off your deck and just have so many counters, man. I mean, Tamio is just friggin' bonkers. Just like this deck in general. Tezzeret, 1 copy of it, but it still packs quite the punch. It's a 5 mana 4 loyalty, legendary Planeswalker Tezzeret. So +1 lets you untap 2 artifacts. Not that you'd use it much, but at my stats you can search for an artifact. So Tezzeret, you can use it as 0 to search for Lotus Bloom, or use Tezzeret as a 5 mana Belcher, because Belcher's 4 mana, so you can just sacrifice the Tezzeret to bring in Belcher. And then there's a minus side that you're not gonna use it, but in case if you have to, your artifacts become 5/5s on turn of turn. So what? 1 Belcher and 3 Lotus Blooms? Nah. I mean, you're just gonna win with Belcher. You're not gonna do -5. It's mainly just to search for a Belcher or to search for a Lotus. So yeah, if you're +1, it's just to grow Tezzeret, so you don't lose him. But it's just I mean, Tezzeret is it's just a secret weapon. It's not really that powerful, but a well-placed Tezzeret could bring you the win. That's why it's a one-off. And congratulations, you've reached the end of the podcast. Why don't you like and subscribe and follow the entire share friends, stay tuned to the next videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live every Tuesday, 4:30 GMT. So stay tuned to them. Watch my other videos too. On Saturdays, 8 a.m. GMT. No, wait, what? No, 7 a.m. GMT. My bad. Most of the time, I should be streaming whatever tournament I'm playing in paper with my DJI Osmo. I mean, if you haven't watched my stream replay yet, I tested it out on a Team Trios event. I mean, I wasn't really well prepared because Barry died after the 3rd round, but it was cool. I mean, it was quite the fun event. I played the Team Trios. I was playing Dual Commander. My dad was playing Modern, and the friend was playing Standard. So yeah, and we actually made it to 5th place. I mean, there was only cut off at top 4. I mean, so yeah. But other than that, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And bye.